You're being hunted right now. Not physically, not obviously, but every time you open your mouth, every time you answer a question, every time you share something about yourself, you're giving someone information they will use against you. Not might use, will use. Because here's what nobody told you. People aren't listening to connect with you. They're listening to assess you, to categorize you, to find the gap between what you project and what you actually are. And the moment they find it, you're marked. Marked as manageable, marked as weak, marked as prey. This isn't paranoia. This is how power works. This is what Machiavelli understood when he wrote about courtiers in Renaissance Florence. And it's what happens in every conversation you have today. Every question someone asks you is a probe. Every time you reveal something personal, you've given them ammunition. Every time you explain yourself, justify yourself, defend yourself, you've shown them exactly where to push. And most men don't realize they're doing it. They think honesty is strength. They think openness builds trust. They think sharing creates connection. It doesn't. It creates vulnerability. And vulnerability gets exploited. You've been taught wrong your entire life. You've been taught that communication is about expressing yourself, being authentic, letting people see the real you. That's what prey does. Prey reveals itself. Prey makes noise. Prey shows weakness because it doesn't know it's being hunted. Predators are silent, strategic. They reveal nothing. They listen. They collect information. And when they have enough, they strike. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're doing it. You're volunteering information that's being cataloged, assessed, and stored for future use against you. This ends today. I'm going to show you exactly what words mark you as prey, what information you're giving away that you think is harmless, but is actually handing people a weapon, and what Machiavelli taught princes about strategic silence that will make you impossible to read, predict, or control. By the end of this, you'll never speak the same way again. You'll hear yourself about to say something and stop, because you'll recognize the trap, the verbal tell, the information leak that marks you as someone who can be managed. Most men talk their way into subordination and never realize they did it. You won't be one of them anymore. Let me start with the most common way men mark themselves as prey: explaining themselves. Every time you justify your decisions to someone who hasn't earned that explanation, you're signaling subordination. Listen to yourself today. How many times do you explain why you're doing something? Why you made a choice? Why you feel a certain way? That's a submission signal. You're saying, I need your approval for this decision to be valid. I'm seeking your validation. I'm negotiable. Machiavelli observed this constantly in the Medici court. Weak courtiers would present decisions with elaborate justifications, seeking approval, building consensus, making sure everyone understood their reasoning. Strong princes would simply state the decision. No justification, no reasoning, just, this is what's happening. The difference? One is asking for permission. The other is informing you of reality. Daily application right now. Someone asks why you're not drinking at a social event. Prey response, oh, I'm just trying to be healthier, I've been overdoing it lately. Maybe I'll have one later, we'll see. You just revealed you're uncertain. You're managing their judgment. You're negotiable. You care what they think. Predator response, not drinking tonight. That's it. No explanation, no apology, no negotiation. Watch what happens. They'll push. Come on, just one.
That's a test. They're checking if you're actually certain or if you're just performing certainty. If you explain, justify, or negotiate, you failed. You revealed you're manageable. If you just repeat, not drinking, with no elaboration, you passed. You're not negotiable. They move on. This happens everywhere. Your boss asks why you made a decision at work. Prey response: 15 minutes of justification, seeking validation, making sure they understand you had good reasons. Predator response: that's how I handled it. These were the results. You're informing, not seeking approval. Someone questions your life choices. Prey response: defense, justification, explanation of circumstances. Predator response: silence. Or if you respond at all, it's working for me. End of conversation. Here's the second speech pattern that marks you as prey. Apologizing when you haven't done anything wrong. Count how many times today you say sorry for things that aren't apologies. Sorry for taking up space. Sorry for having an opinion. Sorry for existing in a way that might inconvenience someone.
Every unnecessary apology is a submission signal. You're saying, I recognize I'm lower in the hierarchy than you. I'm seeking your forgiveness for my presence. Machiavelli never apologized. Neither did any prince who wanted to maintain authority. Because apology from a position of power is abdication. You apologize when you've genuinely wronged someone and need to repair the relationship. You don't apologize for existing, for having boundaries, for saying no, for taking up space you're entitled to. Daily application. You're in a meeting. You have a different opinion. Pray speech. Sorry, but I actually think we should. You just signaled, my opinion is probably wrong. I'm apologizing in advance for disagreeing with the hierarchy. Predator speech. I think we should. No apology. Your opinion doesn't require permission to exist. Someone bumps into you. Pray. Sorry. You just apologized for being in space you're entitled to occupy. Predator. Silence. Or if you acknowledge it at all, you're good. You're granting them forgiveness, not seeking it. This seems small. It's not. Every unnecessary apology is a data point, and people are collecting data on you constantly. 10 unnecessary apologies, and they've categorized you as someone who can be pushed around. Here's the third pattern: revealing your plans before they're complete. Every time you tell someone what you're going to do before you've done it, you're giving them the opportunity to discourage you, question you, undermine you, or steal it. Machiavelli wrote extensively about this in The Prince. Never reveal your strategy before execution. Never announce your moves before you make them. Because giving people advance warning gives them time to sabotage, prepare, or position themselves against you. This is daily applicable everywhere. You're thinking about starting a business, changing careers, making a major move. Prey behavior. You tell everyone. You seek input. You want validation. You're excited and you share that excitement. Here's what actually happens. Most people will discourage you. Not because they're evil, because your ambition makes them uncomfortable with their own stagnation. They'll find reasons why it won't work. They'll question your readiness. They'll express concern. And if you're still in the vulnerable early stage where you're not certain yourself, their doubt will infect you. You'll start second-guessing. You'll delay. You'll adjust your plans based on their feedback. You've just let them control your decision without them even trying to. Predator behavior. Silence. You plan, you prepare, you execute. Then you inform them of the result. I'm thinking about starting a business becomes, I started a business. I'm considering moving becomes, I'm moving next month. I want to make a change becomes, I made a change. You don't seek permission through advance announcement. You inform people of reality after the decision is made. Here's the fourth pattern: sharing your doubts and insecurities. You think this builds connection. It doesn't. It builds a database of your weaknesses that will be referenced when someone needs leverage against you. Every time you reveal what you're afraid of, what you're insecure about, what you doubt about yourself, you're handing someone a weapon and trusting they won't use it. Most will. Not immediately, not obviously, but it'll come back. In an argument, in a moment of conflict, in a situation where they need to diminish you. Machiavelli observed that princes who revealed their fears to advisors found those fears used against them. Not because the advisors were malicious, because information is power, and people use power when it serves them. Daily application. You're in a relationship. You reveal that you're insecure about something, maybe your career progress, maybe physical insecurity, whatever. Prey mindset thinks, this vulnerability will bring us closer. She'll appreciate my honesty. Reality. You've just shown her exactly where to push when she wants to hurt you. And she will want to hurt you at some point. Every relationship has conflict, and in conflict, people reach for weapons. That insecurity you shared? That's a weapon now. And when things get heated, it'll come out. Maybe if you actually made something of yourself. Maybe if you weren't so... You handed her the knife. She's just using it. This isn't about being closed off. It's about understanding that vulnerability is strategic, not default. You reveal weakness to people who've proven they won't exploit it. Not to everyone. Not to prove you're authentic. Predator approach. Keep your doubts private. Process them yourself or with someone who's demonstrated loyalty over time. Don't volunteer ammunition to people who haven't earned access to your interior. So if speech marks you as prey, what makes you a predator? Strategic silence. Information control. Opacity. Machiavelli wrote that the most dangerous princes were the ones nobody could read. The ones who revealed nothing about their true intentions, their actual capabilities, their real plans. Because if people can't read you, they can't predict you. And if they can't predict you, they can't control you. This is daily applicable right now. Every conversation you're in, someone is trying to extract information from you. Not consciously, not maliciously, but they're probing, testing, trying to figure out what you want, what you fear, what motivates you. And every piece of information you volunteer makes you easier to manage. Here's the first principle of strategic silence. Never answer questions you weren't asked. Someone asks, "How was your weekend?" Prey response. Full detailed account of everything you did, everyone you saw, every feeling you had. Predator response. Good. If they want more information, they'll ask specifically. If they don't follow up, they didn't actually care. They were just being polite. And you don't volunteer information to politeness. This seems cold. It's not. It's efficient. It's recognizing that most questions aren't genuine curiosity, they're social protocol. And you don't reveal yourself for protocol.
Someone at work asks what you're working on. Pray. Detailed explanation of all your projects, your timeline, your challenges. Predator. A few things. If they need to know specifically because it affects their work, they'll ask specifically. If they're just being conversational, you've given them nothing to use. Machiavelli called this controlled revelation. You give information on a need-to-know basis, not because you're paranoid, because information is currency, and you don't spend currency on things that don't benefit you. Here's the second principle. Let them fill the silence. Most people are uncomfortable with silence, so they fill it with explanation, with justification, with revelation. You don't. Someone makes a statement, you disagree. Pray response. Immediate explanation of why you disagree, justification of your position, attempt to make them understand your view. Predator response. Silence. Just look at them. Let the statement sit. Let them become uncomfortable with their own position. Most people will backtrack, qualify, or retreat without you saying anything. This is Machiavellian power. Silence as pressure. Silence as strategy. Silence that makes other people reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. Daily application. Someone questions your decision. Old you would defend immediately. New you. Just look at them. Don't defend, don't explain. Let the question hang. Watch what happens. Most of the time, they'll qualify the question, soften it, or retreat entirely. Because your silence communicated, I don't owe you an explanation. And that's a power statement they weren't expecting. Here's the third principle. Never reveal your full capability. Machiavelli observed that princes who demonstrated their full power too early had nothing left to surprise enemies with. The most dangerous princes were the ones who always seemed to have more in reserve. This applies to every interaction you have. Never show your full hand. Never reveal everything you're capable of. Never let them know your limits. Daily application at work. You finish a project faster than expected. Pray behavior. Turn it in immediately. Show them how efficient you are. Predator behavior. Hold it. Turn it in when expected. They don't need to know it took you half the time, because if they know that, they'll expect that pace always. You've just set a new baseline and given away your buffer. Someone challenges you on something you know extensively about. Pray. Full display of knowledge. Prove you're right. Demonstrate expertise. Predator. Minimal response. Just enough to establish you know what you're talking about. You don't need to prove the full extent of your capability. Let them wonder. Unknown capability is more threatening than demonstrated capability. Here's the fourth principle. Answer questions with questions. When someone probes you, probe back. Make them reveal their intention for asking before you reveal your answer. What are you working on? Don't answer directly. Why do you ask? Or, what do you need to know? Now they have to justify their question, and their justification tells you whether the answer matters. If they're just being conversational, just curious, then you know the answer doesn't matter. Couple projects is sufficient. If they have a legitimate reason, I'm trying to figure out if we're overlapping on X. Then you give them the specific information that serves the purpose, nothing more. Machiavelli used this constantly. Never give information freely. Make them work for it. Make them justify why they need it. And in that justification, you learn what they actually want.
So what are you protecting by staying silent? Everything. Every piece of information someone has about you is a potential weapon against you. Your goals, your fears, your plans, your doubts, your capabilities, your limits. When they know these things, they know how to manage you, how to manipulate you, how to position themselves relative to you, how to undermine you when it serves them. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. In The Prince, he writes about how advisors who knew too much about the prince's intentions would position themselves to benefit from or sabotage those intentions based on their own interests. The solution wasn't to find more loyal advisors. The solution was to reveal less to all advisors. This applies to every relationship you have: professional, personal, social. The less people know about your actual interior, the less they can predict and control your behavior. Here's what silence protects in daily life: your plans. When people don't know what you're building, they can't discourage you, copy you, or position themselves against you. You just build, and when it's done, you inform them of reality. Your capabilities. When people don't know your limits, they can't exploit them. They can't push you past them. They can't use them against you. Let them wonder. Unknown capability is more intimidating than proven capability. Your fears. When people don't know what you're afraid of, they can't use fear as a lever. They can't threaten what they don't know threatens you. Your fears are private. They stay private. Your weaknesses. When people don't know what you doubt about yourself, they can't reinforce those doubts. They can't use your insecurities as pressure points. Your interior critique stays interior. Your emotions. When people don't know what you're feeling, they can't manipulate your emotional state. They can't push buttons they don't know exist. Your emotional landscape is yours to manage, not theirs to navigate. This isn't about being closed off. This is about understanding that access to your interior is a privilege, not a right. And privileges are earned through demonstrated loyalty over time. Most people give access freely, to anyone who asks, to anyone who seems friendly, to anyone who performs interest. That's prey behavior. Prey is trusting by default because it doesn't understand it's being hunted. Predators are suspicious by default, not cynically, strategically. They observe before they trust. They test before they reveal. They give access in small increments based on proven behavior, not promised intention. Machiavelli advised princes, trust no one completely, reveal nothing unnecessarily, and always maintain the option to withdraw what you've shared. You can't withdraw what you've said. You can't unsay what's been revealed. So you protect it from the beginning by saying nothing that isn't necessary. So practically, how do you speak in a way that doesn't mark you as prey? Here's the framework. 1. Direct statements without justification. I'm doing X, not I'm doing X because. Just the fact. If they need to know why, they'll ask. If they don't ask, they didn't need to know. 2. Minimal answers to maximum questions. They ask a lot, you answer little. Force them to ask specifically if they want more. Don't volunteer information to broad questions. 3. Strategic misdirection. You don't have to lie. You can just redirect. What are you working on? Wrapping up some projects. Technically true, completely uninformative. 4. Comfortable with silence. When they probe, you can just not answer. Look at them. Let the silence sit. Most people will move on. If they don't, you've learned they really need to know. Then you decide if they've earned the answer. 5. Answer questions with questions. Before you reveal, find out why they're asking. Their reason tells you how much to share. 6. Never reveal what you don't have to. Default to minimal information. You can always say more later. You can never unsay what's been shared. This is daily, applicable in every conversation you have, starting today. Someone asks about your relationship status. Old you. Full explanation of your dating life, your standards, your experiences. New you. Single or in a relationship. That's the whole answer. If they want more, they'll ask specifically. Someone at work asks about your career plans. Old you. Full aspirations, timeline, doubts, everything. New you. I'm focused on what I'm doing now. Completely true. Reveals nothing about your actual plans. Someone asks what you're insecure about. Old you. Honest vulnerability, sharing your doubts. New you. I don't share that. Simple boundary. No explanation. Just a fact. This isn't being cold. This isn't being closed off. This is being strategic with information that can be used against you. Machiavelli spoke like this. He revealed nothing in conversation that wasn't carefully calculated to serve a purpose. Everything else was protected behind strategic silence. That's what made him dangerous. Nobody could read him. Nobody could predict him. Nobody could use his own words against him. That's what you become when you stop marking yourself as prey through unnecessary revelation. Here's where you are. Every time you've explained yourself when you didn't need to. Every time you've apologized when you did nothing wrong. Every time you've revealed plans before execution. Every time you've shared your doubts and fears freely, you've marked yourself as prey. You've given people information they will use when it serves them. Not if, when. Because that's how power works. Information is ammunition. And you've been volunteering ammunition to people who haven't earned your trust. This ends now. From today, you speak like a predator. Direct statements without justification. Minimal answers. Strategic silence. Comfortable with not explaining yourself to people who don't deserve explanation. You stop revealing your plans before they're complete. You stop sharing your fears and doubts with people who haven't proven loyalty. You stop apologizing for existing. And you watch what happens. People won't know what to do with you. They're used to extracting information. They're used to you volunteering it. When you don't, they'll push, they'll probe, they'll test. And you'll stay silent. Because you understand now. What you don't say can't be used against you. Machiavelli survived Renaissance court politics by being impossible to read. You'll survive modern social dynamics the same way. What you say makes you prey. What you don't say makes you dangerous.